If you guys need any cards, packs, sleeves, anything of that nature, shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link in the description. What's good, YouTube? For those of you that missed the stream the other day, you should definitely go check it out. It was an epic tournament. I marathoned the whole thing, ton of fun. You should definitely watch it. While I was on the stream, some viewers suggested that I do a tier list for all the normal summons in Edison format, which I thought was a pretty cool idea, because it's kind of a concept that's not really focused on a lot in Edison format, because it's a lot slower. Whereas, like, in Modern, it's more important you have all these crazy high impact, high value normal summons. Whereas in Edison, we kind of take it a little more for granted. So I've compiled a list of what we defined as normal summons. So we're going to be looking at monsters that are, first of all, level 4 or lower, that are not flip monsters that you, like, summon in face-up attack mode at least a lot of the time, and are not tribute monsters either. So no Caius. Obviously, Caius would be, like, number one. It's basically the best card in Edison format, pretty much like the symbol of Edison format. So we're leaving those cards off. We're just looking at level 4 or lower for the purposes of this list, because they have to be things that you could reasonably summon on turn 1 most of the time, I think, to be considered normal summons by the definition we were going by. So we got like 51 different categories here. I kind of grouped some things together to make it easier for me. As you can see, the gadgets are all one category, and then battle recruiters are all one category. So we got a pretty comprehensive list here, and let me explain all the tiers here, because there's actually quite a few, and I named them very specific things. Actually, this tier name is kind of a joke, because, well, you can guess what's going to go there, but I couldn't really figure out what to put Dim Out, because I thought it was a really good normal summon, but it didn't quite fit in that tier. Didn't quite fit in that tier, and it's better than this tier, so I gave it its own tier. But ignoring that, the top tier is just like the crazy overpowered normal summons that are just like immediate +1 or immediate plus half a card or something like that, in a lot of situations. So that's going to be just the best tier, the most broken ones. This tier is going to be like just cards that are one card synchros, or one card like big beaters or something like that. So a lot of like Debris Dragon or a Rescue Cat or something is going to go in there. Recruiter, these are like good normal summons. We all understand what recruiters are, but they're just, you don't summon them for themselves. You summon them for what they can get. So I feel like they kind of belong lower down. Situational, this is just kind of an arbitrary, like, mid tier. Better when you special summon it. This one's kind of funny. There are actually quite a few cards on here that I think fit this tier pretty well, where it's just like, they're bad normal summons. Like, you pretty much want to special summon them instead of normal summon them. Then side deck, these cards shouldn't even be in your main. And vanilla, I mean, we're going to find out what goes in that tier. We're going to find out, but we all understand. They're just guys that don't do anything. They're just a dude. So, yeah. Anyway, starting off here, I don't know if I kind of want to randomize the order. Let's just grab one out of the pile. So, Shura. Okay, Shura is basically a recruiter if you think about it. It's also kind of a one-card big dude, though, but I think it's really unreliable, especially because it's 18. Like, you really need that Kalut or something to go with it. So I think recruiter is probably an appropriate tier for it. If it were 19, maybe I'd put it up here. I'm probably going to put Fire Dog up here, because I think Fire Dog's a bit better than Shura. Interestingly, I think none of the Blackwing normal summons, except Blizzard, none of them are that great by themselves. It's like the combination of them together, and like Whirlwind and other cards, like the fact that they can swarm and Icarus attack, that really makes that archetype actually good. The normal summons themselves aren't particularly crazy, except Blizzard. Blizzard's pretty crazy. But yeah, I think Shura is sort of upper middle maybe at best. Witch of the Black Rose. See, this card is instant value, except it's only instant value if you're playing a terrible deck called Monster Mash. So I guess like situational is where I would put that. If you could just put Witch of the Black Rose in any deck and it worked, I mean, it would obviously be like S tier, like top of the list. If you could just summon it and draw one, but that is not how it actually works. So I'm gonna put it in situational. Volcanic Rocket. See, this is an instant +1, and it's 1900, which is kind of nuts. Like, it sucks that the only thing you could search is Accelerator, and you can't search the shells. It would be nuts if you could search the shells. However, it is still like a Stratos that gives you a free +1 that is 1900. 1900 is huge for a normal summon. So I feel like these combination of factors definitely put it in the top tier for sure. I mean, it is just an instant value card. It is just like summon it +1, no setup required, no anything required, just mindless +1. So I think Rocket's a really, really good card. Obviously, the Volcanic Engine isn't necessarily the best thing in Edison format because it's kind of missing some stuff, but like inherently in a vacuum, the card is nuts by itself. So I think it definitely belongs up here. Battle Recruiters, the three that people actually play or are playable even vaguely are those three. So they're gonna go in this tier. We're not counting the Wind one, the Mother Grizzly, or the UFO Turtle because those are just garbage and they don't have any good targets whatsoever. These have actual good targets, so we're throwing them in the Recruiter tier. Gadgets. They're kind of instant value, but like you have to be playing a bad deck again, so it's probably more like situational. Down with Witch of the Black Rose. They only work if you are playing a dedicated gadget deck. So situational seems about right to me. Grand Mole. Grand Mole is a good card, man. Is a good card. However, there aren't a whole ton of decks that support it, but it does do a lot. I don't know where to throw it. Like, part of me wants to put it up here, but then part of me says, like, honestly, it's got to go in situational just because it doesn't fit into the engines of most meta decks in Edison format. It would be, like, insane if it did, but you kind of can't play it in most things. You can sort of throw it into Hero Beat, maybe. I've definitely seen some people doing that, but most decks just can't really play this card. If you could just throw it in everything, it would be like up here, I think, but it's probably going to go down in situational. Let's see. Let's do the Lightsworn monsters. Lumina is like situational, I guess. It's not a plus, but it can give you a really good play if you have like the right cards with it. But its stats suck. It's like a good card, and also you only played in Lightsworn. So I think situational is an appropriate tier for Lumina. I don't know if I want to bother ordering these within tiers. I think that's... When we got this many things, it's going to be a real pain, so we're just going to throw them into tiers. Sangan is like definitive recruiter, probably like peak recruiter, because it doesn't need to kill anything by battle. It doesn't need to be killed by battle. It is so easy to go off. You can set it off yourself by tributing it or syncing with it. It's so generic. You can play it in anything. You can grab anything. It's a dark monster. So, yeah, I think like top of recruiter makes sense for Sangam. Armageddon Knight is like instant value. It's not typically a full like +1 unless you send Mali. But in Vayu Turbo, it's like +0.5. If you go into Plague and do a Plague play, get value off that, you know, that's pretty... It is like, you just summon it and you get something set up. So, it might be bottom of instant value, but it is instant value, I think. It does belong in the top tier. Since we did Armanite, let's do Greffer. I think Greffer is like so generic. It would like be here, but what it does is so good and so generic. I think it honestly goes like up here. It's just too good to be down in situational. It's not quite like as good as Armageddon Knight, I think, because you do have to draw it with something else. It is inherently a neg, but it is still a very good card. So we're gonna put it in Dim-Alk tier. Which we should just put Dim-Alk up in Dim-Alk tier so we don't get confused later on. Where is he? There. Dim-Alk is just a really good card. It's not quite like instant value. The only way it's instant value is if you banish something and trade with an 18, which technically can happen a lot more frequently than you think it would, because there's cards like Stratos and Shura, which are both on this list, by the way, that people frequently normal summon on tier 1 or on turn 1. It's also Gear Frame. So trading with 18s and getting a +1 is something that can happen frequently, but it's not like guaranteed by any means. Also can miss timing, which is a little bit eh. However, I think Dim-Alk is really solid because it is like a floater that can just get over things, and that is really, really good. Like the fact that it's a beater and a floater is something that most normal summons in this format do not have. So that's why I put Dim-Alk so high. I think it's very good in that respect. Also, you can protect with Honest in most of the decks you played in, which is pretty cool as well. Uh, Alien Ammonite. I don't know why I'm starting with this one, but it's the first one in here. Like, there's quite a few, just like one card synchro dudes in this format, and Ammonite's probably the worst one because it can only be used to make one thing in one deck, but it is still one of those one card synchro guys, so I think it's got to go there. Breaker. This is a side deck card, probably like bottom of side deck tier if I was being honest. I mean, pretty much only side this in fairies to deal with limb. I can't think of anything else you're siding this for or in. So, and you should not be mating this card or you're on crack. That's my perspective on Breaker. Prisma's like situational. It's got a decent effect, but there's no like great way to get value out of it. It's not like Armonite where you're sending something that lets you plus later. You're just like sending a Garnet to be used with something else that doesn't do anything by itself, and its stats are crap. Like 17 is such a crappy stat line, and also it gets stopped by Bottomless and Book of Moon and stuff, which feels real bad. You can't even like prio send, so I think situational is perfectly generous for Prisma. All of the Gladiator Beasts are battle recruiters. They have to attack. They're probably better than Shura. Alright, I said I wasn't going to order within tiers, but like this is probably how it goes. Yeah, they're just like classic recruiter. I mean, they all tag into each other. What can you really say? Airbellum's a vanilla. Krebons is a vanilla. You can get some okay-ish sort of value out of their effects sometimes, but very infrequently. Usually they're just a card that's like, why is this in my hand? This card sucks. This card doesn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, they don't answer any onboard threat. They don't hit over anything. They like get walled by Hamster. They don't deal with Raikou. They don't deal with battle recruiters. They just don't do anything. So they're going in the vanilla category, these two. Blizzard, one card big dude. Only in Blackwings, but Blackwings is a very good deck, so not too much of an issue there. I mean, Blizzard is just their best normal summon by far. So yeah. Speaking of Blackwings, Bora. This is definitive better when you special summon it. I mean, you just don't want to spend your normal on this card if you have something better. You're only normaling this if you don't have something better. So yeah, I think perfectly reasonable to put it in that tier. Quakimeru Drago. So this one is probably like situational. Probably like top of situational though, because it's a really good floodgate. And it's 19, which is a crazy stat line. You can only play it in dragons, but there's a couple different dragon decks you can throw it in. Top of situational seems perfectly reasonable to me. If we are ordering them in situational, I'd do it like something like this or something. There we go. Okay. So we got DD Warrior Lady. Yeah, actually this one is the top of situational. It's probably like the best of the sort of, I don't know what we call them, problem solver normal summons. Like it just outs anything very, very conveniently, very easily. It doesn't get under Bottomless, which is rough, but other than that, I mean, DD Warrior Lady is just absolutely crazy. So top of situation, maybe even up in Dim Alk tier. I don't know though, because like spending your turn one normal summon on it isn't particularly good. You only really want to be reacting to stuff with DD Warrior Lady. So not even just like turn one. It's just like you don't want to set this card a lot of the times unless you have to. It actually kind of depends, I guess. We'll leave it in top of situational for now. Maybe I'll move it later. Flamvel Magician. It's a vanilla, right? I mean, it could also be in better when you special summon it, but it's just a vanilla. Fire Dog is... Fire Dog might be like one card big guy. It's weird. Is he like high recruiter or is he one card big guy? I forget. I said earlier I wanted to put him in one card big guy. But he's like probably not as free as these guys. He has to run something over. So resolving his effect is difficult. But he's 1900. He gets over like everything. And the big guy that he gets is like really good in terms of going Magician level 8. And he sets up your grave for Kindling. So he's maybe like here. Maybe this is a more fair place to put it than up here. I think he doesn't quite fit in with all of the cards that are going in the one card big guy tier. So yeah, Zombie Master is like right next to Lumina. It's probably better than Lumina. It's 1800. I mean, I guess though the weird thing is that it's effect will fizzle if it gets like booked or bottomless. So maybe I'll put it below Lumina, even though it's 1800. But it is a zombie and a dark, which is kind of better than being Lumina. I don't know. They're just like they're really close. We'll just say that. Arcus. He's got a good effect. I don't know, but his stats suck. He's like very situational, like highly situational. We'll put him bottom of situational. Like he's great against frogs or something, I guess. But yeah, Jane's probably better than Reich than what's he called, Arcus. I think Jane's probably better. Just being a 21 beater is probably better than Arcus. What do we want to say for Gale? It's either situational or better when you special summon it. I feel like it's kind of textbook better when you special summon it, although it's probably good enough to be up in situational. But it's a lot more situational than a lot of these. It just like outs one guy sometimes and then gets run over anyway next turn. So maybe I will put it down here next to Bora. It's probably a little more reasonable. Did I forget Garoth on this list? That's wild. He should be better when you special summon it. Oh well, we're just gonna have to ignore that. Lila is like situational but better than most of these. Yeah, I think that's a decent spot. Situational tier is really filling up. Alias is a vanilla. He's a 19 vanilla, but he's a vanilla nonetheless. Stop coping. Lone Fire, one card, big guy. I mean, pretty clear why that goes there. The zombie dudes are recruiters, but they're like super specific. So maybe like bottom of recruiter. I don't know. All the cards in recruiters are like pretty decent normal summons, I would say. That's my evaluation. Swap Frog. This is strange. It is like instant value, but only on turn 1. Past turn 1, normal summoning this is a lot worse. So maybe we say like Dim Alk tier. Dim Alk tier for you? I think that's fine. Debris Dragon is one card big dude. It's probably top of one card big dude. I think it's the best one in here because of the interaction with Dandelion being so positive and so good. And like you can make the Black Rose plays, which are crazy. You can make the Stardust plays. So there's enough good synchros that are dragons that the restrictions don't matter too much. And it is like pretty generic compared to the rest of the cards in the one card big dude tier as well. So I think Debris is like top. Fossil Dyna, side deck, but like top of side deck. I think it's the best one of all of the sort of stun monsters on this list. Aaron, I guess, is going to be in situational again. I think it's better than Jane. Deep Sea Diva. We're going to probably call this one card big dude. It's not quite instant value because, like, if you just summon it and get a plus and pass, you're just leaving a 200 on your field. So that's not really. It's more like you just make a Cataster or something. Maybe it's better than Debris Dragon. Debatable. I think they're close. I'm going to put it... It doesn't require setup like Debris does, so I'll put it on above Debris, because it summons from deck, which is kind of nuts. There's not a lot of things like that in Edison format. We don't have Tour Guy, we don't have any of the later modern cards. I think Diva maybe should be top of this tier. Doom Caliber Knight, side deck tier. It's like borderline mainable like Fossil Dyna is, depending on what your deck is, so I think it's going to be near the top of side deck tier. Subs to Toad. This is going in S tier, instant value tier. I mean, it's instant value no matter when you're summoning it. If you summon it turn 1, you float into swap and you get your plus. And if you summon it past turn 1, you get your dupe lock and go through your whole deck. So, I mean, no matter when you're summoning this, you're doing something crazy with it. So I think pretty definitive instant value tier on that. Same deal for Stratos. I mean, Stratos is like the definitive like turn 1 +1 monster. Everyone knows this card. It's iconic. It was one of the first monsters that's really like it. It's just kind of a very defining card in the game of like normal summon, get +1. So Yeah, Stratos, sick card. There's a lot of hero decks around, and it's largely because Stratos is such a nuts card. So Stratos is definitive S tier. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. We got some X Saber dudes. Maybe we should rank these. Full Helm. It's like maybe bottom of situational. I don't know. It's weird. I think it's probably down here actually. It's like there's only one deck that even plays it, and it's a bad deck. So we'll put it down in better when you special summon it. And then like Ember's Blade I guess can go in recruiter tier, but it's the worst one by far compared to all these other ones. Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, side deck tier, better than Breaker, but it should like never ever be in your main deck, so worse than these two. Masked Dragon, it is a recruiter. It's better than Ember's Blade, because, well, actually, is it? It depends whether you think Trap Dragons or X Sabers is worse. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how I feel about that one, actually. They both have such bad targets, like Masked Dragon just floats into like Totem or Exploder, which are just like eh. And Ember's Blade just floats into like the other X Saber guys, which are kind of, they're down here. I don't know how you want to rank these two. It depends on how you feel versus those two decks, I guess. Ocean is vanilla. Yeah, technically, I know all these guys have effects and whatnot, but let's be real. They're just a vanilla. Okay, Salvo is one card big dude, but it's the worst one by far. It is so annoyingly specific in its requirements, and it only makes 7s. So yeah. I mean, there's like not a lot that you're doing with Salvo. The card has not been particularly successful in the format, but it is a one card big dude normal summon, so I guess we got to put it up there. Rescue Cat. See, this card is kind of like better when you special summon it because it's so much better when you have Monk. But also, it is so inherently good that it is a one card big dude. But it's a little bit more specific than like these. But it also summons from deck, which is crazy. I don't know, maybe I'll put it between Debris and Lone Fire. Actually, Lone Fire summons from deck too. Yeah, we'll put it there. I think that's a good spot for Rescue Cat. Banisher of the Radiance, side deck worse than Kaiku. Yeah, I think that's fine. Junk Synchron, one card big dude. It's played mostly in Frogs, but it's really good in Frogs, and Frogs is a top tier deck, so I don't know, like around Debris Dragon level. Maybe worse than Debris Dragon. I don't know. It's a little bit up to interpretation there. It depends how you feel about it. Debris can make like bigger things in most cases, but Junk can like go for anything 4 through 9 in Frogs in a lot of situations if they have some special swap Frogs or if they already have some dupes on the field or something. And Junk doesn't have the restrictions that Debris does, but it also doesn't have the interaction with Dandelion. I don't know. We'll just put them right next to each other. It's up to some interpretation there. Machina Gear Frame. I mean, it's a Stratos, so same deal there. Gets Fortress, instant +1, 1800. It's got another effect that's okay as well. So, I mean, yeah, pretty nuts card. Thunder King, side deck. I'm going to say better than Kaiku, maybe. It's good versus zombies and heroes and stuff. And it's probably around the same level as Kaiku. So, up to interpretation here. I think around the same level as Kaiku. And then Card Trooper. This is going to be the most controversial take. This goes up here. This is the best normal summon in Edison format. It's crazy going first, crazy going second. You can get free pluses off mills. It trades amazing with everything. It's like it goes really well into Raikou or Hamster, doesn't matter. It can trade with 1900s. It beats over pretty much every other normal summon just for no reason. It replaces itself with the +1. It just does so many things and is so generic. It's a Debris target, for God's sake. I mean, it is a crazy, crazy card. I love Card Trooper so much, so going up here in the instant value tier, in the top tier, where he rightfully belongs. All right, that is going to wrap up the tier list for today. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, agreements, disagreements. I think I did forget Garoth. It should be in this tier, the better when you special summon it tier, because it's like way worse than all these other Light Sworns. It doesn't do anything by itself. But yeah, other than that, I think this is basically perfect. So let me know what you think. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.